Sports build champions and leaders, but every champion has moments of struggle, pressure, anxiety, burnout, and those moments deserve real support. PAX Health is proud to sponsor the New Jersey Lacrosse Podcast because they believe mental health care should be available when you need it, as you need it. Therapy and psychiatric services for kids, teens, communities, and families. Telehealth and in-person appointments are available within 48 hours. PAX Health, people helping people. Visit pax.health. That's PAX.health. JAG Physical Therapy, providing rehabilitative recovery from sports and soft tissue injuries to knee, foot, ankle, hip, shoulder, elbow, and back injuries. Schedule your appointment with JAG Physical Therapy today and meet their experienced team of physical therapists, occupational therapists, athletic trainers, and exercise physiologists invested in your full recovery. Get back the life you love at JAG Physical Therapy, the most awarded physical therapy provider in New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania. For more information or to make an appointment, just visit jagpt.com. That's JAGPT.com. Lacrosse families, meet Orgo, the calendar app that actually thinks like a sports parent. Orgo syncs with team apps you already use and enriches schedules with real-world logistics. Every event shows travel times, early arrival buffers, carpool assignments, conflict alerts, and time-specific weather so you know what gear to pack. Get your athletes on it too. Orgo teaches time literacy, an executive skill for life. One subscription, whole family. Code LAX25 is 25% off. Just $44 locks in sanity for the whole year. Visit www.orgohq.com. That's www.orgohq.com. This is the New Jersey Lacrosse Podcast. I'm your host, Keith Glock.
I'm Bill Farr.
I'm Anthony Terranova.
And this here is Gil Swenson. Welcome to the New Jersey Lacrosse Podcast. Welcome in, everybody, to episode 16 of the 2026 New Jersey Lacrosse Podcast. And it is state sectional finals day for most everybody, and the non-public final all dropping tonight. As you get this in your feed, we are recording this on Monday, June the 8th, and it is coming to you on that sectional finals day. Bill Tharp, Anthony Terranova, how are you guys?
Doing great. The season is winding down really fast. There's been some great lacrosse that has been played, some non-great lacrosse, some very, very lopsided scores here, even going into the sectional finals here. But it's been a whirlwind. It's been going quick, but we're going to be getting some champions real soon here. Tharp, you're on mute.
You're muted, buddy. It's the best we've
so
ever heard you.
I don't know about you guys. I am obsessed with all of these Twitter games. I've shared with you guys 20-0. I've been obsessed with 38-0. It's a Premier League soccer game. So when I'm not watching lacrosse, I'm just absolutely locked in to these Twitter games. And I just had to share that with you guys because it is so much fun.
Quick
Get a
downshift
sponsor for it this time.
Yes.
I wish.
Quick downshift for you, Tharpy. Just coming off the season, we're just no more film for you. It's just now we're just clicking away using those thumbs.
No, but it's like I mean, no, but you have a kid. Like it's the best way to you're awake at night, you're just like lying there, like let me see if I can get a 20-0. 82-0 in basketball is the one that's 82-0 has been elusive. But
I'm a Royal Match guy. Sorry. And I think it's also because I was frustrated. The best I could do was 17-3 in that thing with football. So sorry about it.
Are you guys World Cup guys? Are you excited for the World Cup?
I am a USA soccer guy. So yeah.
Who do you think who's your team outside of USA?
Nobody? What's wrong with you?
That was a trick question, I feel like. Trying to put you on the spot there.
No, I like I love watching Premier League soccer. So like I happen to like watching the Team England
That's ludicrous
That really
question.
wasn't a trick
Get
question.
it. Go get it. Just don't even bring that here on the week of the World Cup in our home country, and your team Englanding me. Go get on a plane. Get out of here.
Can you believe Meadowlands is hosting like the finals?
Yes, it's New York.
That's
It's like
insane.
the city of the world
Yeah, yeah. East
in New
Rutherford, New
Jersey.
Jersey.
Correct. All right, let's turn our attention to where it should be, and that is the lacrosse world in New Jersey on this state sectional final and state group final week, because that will be upcoming this weekend at the College of New Jersey. And what I want to do before we do that is, obviously we have an opening face-off, and as it is championship week, there's people that obviously are in this podcast that have lived a couple of different lives as it relates to championship week. So I thought it would be interesting to do a championship week in the life of, right? And there's years as coaches that you guys have been involved and you're coaching to win a state championship. There's years where you are coaching and your friends are coaching to win a state championship, or that you have no skin in the game whatsoever. Officiating wise, same deal. Either you're preparing to officiate a game or preparing to watch your friends officiate these things. So what does a week in the life of in a championship week, when you were a coach who was preparing to play in one of these games, and you could actually speak to it as a player as well, what is it like?
Yeah, I've been in championships as a player, as a coach, uh, and an official. So definitely got the full gamut of experiences here when it comes to championship week. And everything's a little bit different with what you're trying to do, but I think the general gist of it on all kind of levels and all different occupations there, as we say, is just trying to keep it consistent. You try to keep kind of everything consistent in what you're doing to get you up to that point in the first place. You're not trying to rewrite the script. You're not trying to do anything different. You're not trying to play outside yourself as a player. If you've never taken a left-handed shot, probably the championship game isn't the first time I'm going to take a left-handed shot. If I haven't been, doing this or eating that before, if you haven't done any pasta parties, I'm not going to do a pasta party for the first time just because it's an out-of-state championship kind of thing. So I think it's just trying to be consistent with everything that you're doing. There might be different things. I might hit the wall up maybe one more extra time than I normally do if I was playing. As a coach, I'm gonna probably watch one or two more extra film work than I normally would going into a game. And then as an official, I might pull out the rule book again and just make sure I skim through that one more time. Make sure that I got a nice clean tape measured, things like that, just to make sure that I'm dialed in with everything that I'm doing. But I've done things just to be consistent. I know I did it when we were at Montgomery. I did it at Seton Hall when we were in championship game. A lot of games aren't played late at night. And some of these championships are played, 6:30. It's going to be under the lights at some point. So I know like Seton Hall didn't have even lights at their home field, so we rented a field. We rented like Livingston, and we went to go practice at Livingston because our game was going to be at night under the lights. To do that, so again, the kids knew like this is the consistency. This is what it looks like. This is how it's going to feel. Tomorrow night. Minus again, what you can never do is the fans and the impact of having the student body around. That's something that you'll never be able to kind of emulate. But there's also what makes that high school state playoffs as excited as we saw, in the Chatham game when they're storming the field. Like that's something that, it only comes really at those really, really, really big time games and big time moments. But again, long-winded answer, just be consistent. You just want to be consistent for your team, for your players. You don't want to make the moment too big, and that's in all sports. And you hear coaches say that all the time in all these sports. It's just we're going out there. It's another game for us. If we execute our game plan, we're going to find success. But at the end of the day, the reality is everyone knows that this game is a little bit different than all the others. So there's going to be things that pop and change and do different types of things, but you just want to kind of, if you listen to the same song every single time, before you take the field, you're gonna do that again. So it's all about, to me, just being consistent going into these big time games.
Tharpy, how about you? Championship week, what's it like for you?
Yeah, I actually had a pretty unique championship experience in 2021 with Pingree because our game actually had like a 3 hour lightning delay. And so, we got out there, we warmed up, ready to go. I think we were about to face off, and we get sent back to the buses. And keep in mind this is down at Shore Regional, so this was a lot of travel for a lot of people, and just sitting on the bus. But like you said, it's you gotta calm the nerves, and it's one of those things that we were the first game of the doubleheader, so we knew that likely come hell or high water, the game was gonna get played no matter what, and we had to wait a really really long time. Like I said, I think it ended up being almost a 3 hour lightning delay, and we went out there and we were able to get the job done, and I think this was still the time of the TOC, so my some of my fondest memories, um, were preparing for the TOC because I could still vividly remember our first round game against Chatham. Was played up on Babbitt Field, and similar to the atmosphere that Barton and Chatham had in the county final, the field was absolutely packed, and the way a lot of the private schools are, some of the seniors are done with school in like April. So Nova, I'm sure you're used to this too. Like these kids are just so out of routine, so it's like trying to get them back in routine, and preparing your body, and doing the right things, and ultimately going up to Don Bosco, and losing a heartbreaker to those guys, like um, that was a really remarkable experience. But I agree with Nova. I think it's just like as a coach, you want to do right by your kids, and that means being prepared for everything and anything, and like God forbid I missed in a film, they 10-man road this way this game, and like we're not prepared. You know what I mean? Like, so I think it's, as a coach, it's like being a little neurotic of like I can't miss anything for these kids, and as a fan, obviously it's a really unique experience. I'm really fortunate enough to have coached a lot of talented kids. You know, Unfortunately, I've also gotten to see a ton of heartbreak. I've been there for Nova. I vividly remember being on the field at East Brunswick and just looking at each other and not knowing what to say, after the Barn wins that game a few years ago. And, so sometimes it's about being a supportive friend, and being there for your boys. And I remember when you guys won it with Montgomery, being in the stands at Kane, watching the TOC against Delby, and sitting next to John Danowski and John Tillman. And, you know, sometimes, it's really cool to celebrate your friend's success. And, we're, it's a really, it's cool, this group, the amount of success that we've been able to experience, not only for ourselves but for each other. So I'm really proud of those guys and everything they accomplished. And it's just good to watch your kids succeed, and kids you coach be successful. So um, I know this week coming up, we all have kids that we've coached or we've come across that are going to experience joy, and they're going to experience heartbreak, and one way or another we're going to be there to support them.
Awesome.
From an officiating standpoint, there's two things. One is you get used to doing something every day. Like I'm leaving school and going and working a game, and you get that 4 mile, 4.25 in every day, and that is like 2 months. And then all of a sudden we get to the playoffs, and it's like there's not a game every day. So it's you have a game and then you have off days, and so for me, I feel like I got to keep moving. So today I made sure I played pickleball, and just got the blood flowing a little bit, because didn't really want to be inactive the day before the game. And on days when I'm not working in these playoffs and championship week, it's so much fun. To me, I always earmark these weeks and make sure that I go to the games. I think my presence as the rules interpreter, to be a cheerleader for the other guys, is important. And I remember how important it was to me when I did my first state championship, which, Nova, you played in. I remember the feeling of how cool it was. And we went out to Green Knoll in Bridgewater afterwards, back when there were 3 sites and 2 games at each site, and everybody met who worked that night. We met at Green Knoll, and everybody had drinks and food, and it was just a big congratulations fest. So it's important to me to keep that going and be present for all the guys, and especially the guys that are doing it for the first time. So as very cool as it is to be on the field, and trust me, It's cool. Championship games are awesome, especially when the crowd gets rolling. But for me at this point in my career too, it's also just as cool to go out and support everybody. So hopefully we have a fantastic week ahead of us, both from a performance and from a cheerleader standpoint as we move forward. So let's look back a little bit at the sectional semifinals of note. We're not going to go through everything because there were some lopsided scores. So we picked out a couple that are worth mentioning, and then we'll talk a little bit about some of them, at least in a little bit more detail. In Group 4 South, Washington Township defeated Kingsway 8-7. Ocean City 9, Allentown 6 in 2 South. In Group 4 North, Westfield defeated Bridgewater 11-10 in overtime. Group 3 North, Summit 12, Scotch Plains 7. In 2 North, Sparta topped Holmdel 9-7. And in the non-public semifinals, which is now it's the group semifinals, because remember there's no sectional breakup in the non-publics. That was Seton Hall 14 and St. Augustine 9, and Don Bosco 10, or I'm sorry, Delbarton 10 and Don Bosco 4. So of all those games, guys, which stuck out to you that you had eyes on? Nova, why don't you go first?
I'll let you talk about that game. I know what game Stark's going to talk about. So, I mean, I really don't have too much to say for kind of all those other games. Seton Hall, really, really brought it. It was really impressive to watch. They were on him from the first whistle, and then, as I said in the group chat, as soon as Merklinger hit that 45-yarder with 5 seconds left. It was pretty much a done deal. There's just too much momentum in their favor of what they're trying to do. But you could see the Seton Hall made the adjustments they needed to make from after watching that game. The first time they came out, they put a ton more pressure on them, kind of, threw out their 10-man a little bit at them from time to time to get some extra possessions. They decided to use a bounce shot, which they really did not use until the last 3 minutes the first time they played, and it definitely exposed their goalie a little bit more. He definitely, I would say didn't have his best game. I'm sure he wants that game back, but Seton Hall was in process of that game that entire time. But props to St. Augustine for such a great year, being able to beat those, Seton Hall and Barton in the regular season. Garden City, who's a top 5 nationally ranked, public school. It was an impressive year and certainly not one to be overlooked. Just unfortunate that at the end of the day, only one team in the private sector can be left standing.
Tharpy?
Yeah, I really got to watch 3 games, and I think they happen to be the 3 of the better games. So I'll start with Bridgewater and Westfield, and quite frankly, I can't believe that Bridgewater lost this game. I think
Facts. Ugh.
they were in total control. I know we've spent a lot of time talking about that team this year, and but like Declan Cardillo like deserves every pat on the back. He was unguardable, and under 2 minutes there, they have the lead. They're keeping it in, and Westfield's not really pressuring the ball, and the whole time, you know Bridgewater has a timeout in their back pocket, and they drive up the field and they force a feed inside, and then it gets turned over, and Westfield comes down, and then it's like they slide adjacent, they slide right to the kid's face, and it's not even like no, but we've coached, like it wasn't even like a well-timed double. It was just like I'm just gonna slide to the face of this guy, and they can the shot from the wing with about 20 seconds left, and then honestly, right at the end of regulation, Bridgewater gets the ball back on a gutsy, gutsy incorrect call from the ref on Westwood coming out of the box early. I think we give refs a lot of shit, but that was a really, really well called out of the box on that one. And quite frankly, like Declan is able to generate great offense, and they get a good look, and they put the shot wide, and then in overtime, Bridgewater gets a stop, call timeout, and again, I'm not coaching. I'm not here to second guess. It did feel like in the moment they outthought themselves a little bit. I don't know how 88 doesn't touch the ball in overtime, and it felt like it was one of those things where, you know, Westfield thinks he's going to touch it, so let's not have him. And again, I'm not in the huddle. I don't know if they drew up, but they turned over, and then again they slide super aggressively and have a really, really poor closeout, and Westfield wins it in overtime. And that's how Westfield's kind of been this year. We talked about Pingree being a cardiac team. Like Westfield, man, has been a cardiac team this year, and they get it done in overtime. So again, some weird decisions, and it's like in the biggest moments of the game. I think if Bridgewater was a tad more disciplined, they're probably playing Ridgewood tomorrow. But that's just not how it shakes out. And then 100% agree with you on Seton Hall, St. Augustine. I thought Seton Hall. I sent this text in the first quarter. They were absolutely peppering the goal, ton of shots. Even if they weren't like high quality shots, maybe they weren't getting saved. I think that's so important. Like they were throwing a ton of shots, just wide, just wide, and not putting it right in the goalie's chest where he's able to get warm and comfortable. And like you said, all of a sudden it's like goals are coming and goals are coming, and St. Augustine had a little spurt there. The Mason Rucci had a really strong game for them. He cans a couple, but like you said, just Merklinger sinks that shot, and then it was like a tidal wave. And I think right at the start of the half, Seton Hall withstands man down, and yeah, like you said, no, it was kind of curtains from there. But man, I thought Seton Hall's ride was super impressive. I thought they really ratcheted up the pressure. Um, I know Drew Rothman did a really good job on Brayson Thurber. But it was just Brennan Lyons, I thought was very solid in net yet again. But again, like you said, Nova, kudos to St. Augustine. Um, I have my thoughts on the seeding and how we do that stuff, but we can talk about that after the season. And then finally, Del Barton and Bosco. Bosco goes up 1-0 right away, and then King Quinault takes over and scores two right away off the faceoffs. I think NJ.com said it was about 11 seconds apart, and it was just total, absolute control for Del Barton. They kind of took the thing by the reins and really clamped down. I think they were up 7-2 or 8-2 at halftime. Final was 10-4. So slowed down a little bit in the second half there, but really just a thorough, dominant, convincing win by Del Barton. I thought Bosco certainly did not have their best game. If we're all being honest, I think Bosco was uh, sloppy, was a little turnover prone. And at the end of the day, they weren't able to, match some of the offensive production out of the midfield and out of the faceoff that Del Barton was getting. So I apologize. That was a lot of talking by me, but those were great lacrosse games. Don't let the final scores. I know they were a little wider, but those were two really, really great lacrosse games.
Don't look now. Don't look now, but our presence is being blessed at the moment by Gil Swenson. We even caught him blowing his nose on tape. If you want to see that, make sure you tune into the YouTube. Gil.
This is my Jordan game right now. I'm struggling on the way home from the one and only Garden State Cup tryouts.
Well, listen.
What's up, Gil?
Welcome.
Good to see
How
you.
we doing?
We're fantastic. I just actually
Miss you guys.
can't even believe you're here. This is a little wild.
Listen, I said I'd be here. I'm here. A little late, but
Better late than never.
got just in time to miss Tharp's rant, apparently.
That was your
It's not even
timing.
a rant.
Couldn't have been more perfect. We are recapping currently the sectional semifinals, and I will add to what the boys have said. I officiated Washington Township and Kingsway. Give credit to Washington Township. They never quit on that game, and they just played. Brutally hot day out there on the turf at Kingsway. Everybody this time of year, that when coaches at the lower level, their seasons are over, so everybody's got like an army of coaches. Kingsway has like 19 coaches on the sideline. So it becomes a little bit of a challenge there, although they were perfect gentlemen the entire day. And Washington Township down a goal 6-5 with about 3 minutes to go. Came back, scored 3 goals to go up 2. Went into a zone played pretty well in the zone, actually, but it was a time and room shot for Kingsway to cut it to a goal. And then they actually got 2 really good looks at it before the game ended to try to send it to overtime, but they could not do it. They just couldn't get the ball on cage. And Washington Township held on in a pretty wild finish. I then attended both of the non-public games later in the week, and the only other thing I'll add to what you guys have said was there was something that I won't say scares me, but if I was a Del Barton fan, I would be in tune to. And I don't know that one is a product of the other, but my brain made this potential connection. Was early in the year, if you had said, was there something that Del Barton was missing? I probably would have said, you know, they really don't have one of those like thumpers on defense this year. You know, there's a whole bunch of technicians and not a lot of thumpers. And I don't know, maybe if that kind of notion was shared with some of the guys, and now they're trying to make sure that their presence is felt, maybe in ways that they don't need to, because they took a pair of multiple minute fouls in the game. One where the ball was just way over the head of a midfielder in transition, and a defenseless player hit a very obvious 2-minute foul in the first half, and then a high hit, a cross check to the head in the second half that I know from speaking to the officials that correctly the conversation was 2 or 3 minutes. I was there. I was kind of right in front of it when it happened, and had they gone 3 minutes, I would have had zero issue with it. It was a bad hit, and I just don't know that they can do that and win the game tomorrow, on Tuesday against Seton Hall. So if their goal is to be the thumpers, then maybe they need to make sure that they're doing it at appropriate times and getting better at it than whatever was happening in that game. Those would be my takeaways from the state semifinals. Gilberto, did you end up seeing anything this week? I know you're crazy busy. You're getting set here for the club scene, but I don't want to exclude you from this conversation if you have any valuable insight into any of the sectional semifinals.
I'm not a member of the club scene, just to be clear. But no, I was kind of in and out on a few games. Nothing that you guys have already said new, really, but I'm excited for tomorrow. Just looking over the matchups. It's gonna be a big day, but not much else to add for me.
All right, it's a good segue into what's coming here on Tuesday, the sectional finals. I'm just going to read them off because there's we're going to go from small groups to large groups, and we'll leave non-public to the end. Some really disparate times, and I don't know why. I'm sure somebody's got a prom or an awards night or something, but some of it is a little ridiculous. There's also, we're dealing with boys and girls double headers, where one team is playing here and the other team may be playing at the same site, or maybe they have to travel, and you have siblings on both teams, so the schools are trying to stagger game times to make it accessible for parents. So we could explain a lot of that away because of that. In Group 1 North, the most bizarre game time of the day, Ramsey will travel to Mountain Lakes for a 1 p.m. face-off on a school day. I'm sure if you're a player, you love that.
Nothing better than a Tuesday 1 p.m. to get the fans riled up.
I mean, just everybody's available for that. It's fantastic. As we go now down to Group 1 South, Haddonfield will travel to the shore, the North Shore, to Rumson, and Rumson will face off at 6 p.m. That's kind of pretty typical for Rumson, actually. Most of their home games end up getting played about 5:30, 6 o'clock. As we go up to Group 2 North, Sparta will travel to West Morris for a 2 p.m. face-off. In 2 South, Manasquan goes all the way down to Ocean City for a 5 p.m. face-off. In Group 3 North, Summit will go to Chatham for a 5:30 p.m. face-off. In 3 South, a local rivalry that always brings the juice, Moorestown goes to Shawnee for a 4:30 p.m. face. In Group 4 North, a rematch of an overtime game early in the season, Westfield goes to Ridgewood, and they will face off at 4:30 p.m. In Group 4 South, Washington Township will go to Southern Regional, play on the grass at 4 p.m. And in the non-public final, Seton Hall will take on Del Barton at Kane University at 6:30 p.m. So guys, as we look down that list of games that are being played on Tuesday, June the 9th, what is the thing that gets your juices flowing?
Chatham versus Summit. Need it. I want it. Cannot wait to watch it. We've been wanting this game all summer, all season long, not summer long, all season long. Two of the best teams in the state. Both believe one is better than the other. Both think that one should be ranked higher than the other in our rankings, and we're hearing from both fan bases. So this is it, the time to prove it. It could absolutely go so many. This is the one game that I think can go so many different ways, from either side blowing a team out to it going to 4 overtimes to everything else in between. I think this is going to be might be the best lacrosse game, even with the non-public final of the day. And I'm very, very excited to, as soon as I'm done with my game, to tune into that pretty much immediately.
Gil, what did you say there, Gil? I didn't get the whole thing.
I said shout out Burn Shanley on the Summit Chatham. I don't think I've given Burn a shout out yet on the pod, but really up our something about the Summit Chatham rankings lately, and been a good friend of the pod, I'll say, but giving some good insight on the IG comments every week, and this is the one we've been waiting for. I think me and him and all of us really. That's I think Nova nailed it. I think it might be the best game of the day, and you look at seeing all prepped up hard to say that, but I think this one might go out on him. Hey, I might be in person, boots on the ground at the Westmore Central Sparty game tomorrow.
Wow,
Well,
boots on the ground.
Why are you going to do this? Why are you going to do this? Why are you saying this? You're just going to break hearts wide open all over.
2 p.m. on a Tuesday?
We know you're not going. You're not going. Stop.
You encroach on dinner. Listen, you encroach on dinner time or bedtime for me, it's going to be lights out, literally. But 2 p.m. prime time for me. So I might shoot over to West Morris and give you guys some live updates.
Why don't you just go to Lakes? Go to Lakes for 1P. Stay for a quarter and 2 minutes.
That's too far.
Oh,
it's too far, right, Billy?
Yeah, Glock, we've been over this. We have a 15. Gil and I live within a 15-mile radius. Anything out of 15 miles, it's another country. Yeah,
15 miles is stretching unless it's pure highway. But
you guys are the biggest. Stop. You guys are the biggest prima donnas in the world. Okay, I'm done with this nonsense. Just as long as it's convenient, the 15 minutes from my house. Otherwise, can't go, can't do. Just get over this. You know how many miles I put on my car this year? I bought my car last June. 44,000 miles.
You don't have young children.
But I don't care. I don't want your excuses. Don't bring your excuses to me. Keith. Yeah, it's all over God's half acre. Okay, thank you.
I used to, listen, I used to drive I lived in Princeton and worked at St. Joe's in Philly, 2 hours each way every day. And I know Nova knows the 2 hour each way commute as well. But I'm too old for that.
Yeah, you're like 19 years old.
About lacrosse.
We're talking about lacrosse. I was coaching.
God, you're such a.
I'm talking about Glock. Glock's getting on his high horse.
Yes, I am. All right, fine. I'm now off it. I'm now off the soapbox. Tharp, please continue. What are you interested in?
Aren't you glad I came back, Billy?
Yeah, I missed you. I was just in my fear with Chatham and Summit is we watched this game last year and it was like 4-3 or 5-3. Like, I think there's like a part of this that's like
nothing wrong with that.
like what Del Barton did to Summit, and I think Glock, I give you credit. I think you pointed this out. Like, Del Barton was able to manipulate the Summit defense where they could put their best guys in certain matchups. They wanted to get Fodor dodging in certain places, and I think that obviously if Chatham's able to do something similar, it could be trouble for the Summit defense. But um, you know, I think that the way Summit plays defense is going to be something that Chatham hasn't really seen this year. Whether you like the zone, you hate the zone, whatever it is, like the Summit zone is very successful for a reason. So it's gonna test Chatham. I do think Chatham has a advantage at the face-off X. I think it's gonna be one of those things where it might be Chatham's just gonna get too many cracks at goal, and someone's gonna let goals in. You got to think defensively, Lachlan Mahoney and James Granger is an outstanding matchup. But Chatham has some question marks defensively, and Summit's been very, very explosive this year. So I think if Chatham can face off around 70% and just get more and more opportunities at the goal, that they're going to be able to find success. But as we've talked about before, we know Summit's going to have a good face-off game plan with Coach Schoen, and Coach Davidson's an absolute legend for a reason. But you guys are right, and it's cool because we haven't seen it yet this year, right? Like obviously Seton Hall Barton is going to be amazing, but just the unknowns of Summit and Chatham make it exciting.
I think I just like to add. I think it really depends to me how Kivit's seeing the ball early. We know how phenomenal he is. Not his best day against Del Barton, and I think Chatham has the shooters from the outside. Like you said, Bill, if they keep racking up possessions, if they're settling for outside shots, if they're stinging them early, it's going to be a long day for Summit, and Chatham has the talent to break that zone down for sure. I think it's just a matter of how he's seeing the ball. I think he's that big of a difference maker that face-offs or not. I think it's just going to depend on really how he comes out.
And then obviously Seton Hall Del Barton. It's going to be amazing. It's essentially a college game that's masquerading as a high school game. It's fitting, right? Remember we talked about it at the podcast like midway through the season. Like, is this the least anticipated Seton Hall Del Barton game in years? And we were all kind of aligned, like, yeah, like Del Barton's probably going to win, and Seton Hall's down this year, and now look where we're at, man. It's like Thanos. It's inevitable. We get Seton Hall versus Del Barton for all the marbles. I think both teams could not be playing any better right now. I think we're getting these teams at absolute peak form. It's going to be a outstanding game. I know obviously this is what both teams wanted. It's going to be, and I'm sure, I don't know, maybe I'm speaking out of pocket, but I do think like, Seton Hall getting over the hump last year, but it was against Bosco. I think, for them getting over the hump against Del Barton would be make it even sweeter.
I think one of the things that I was going to talk about, skipping back to Summit Chatham for a second, you have that 5:30 p.m. face-off. Number one, they haven't played this year, and it's not like, Kivit's never played at Chatham, but it's not his home field. And you have to deal with things as a goalie that are, anytime something's a little off or a little different or a little weird, like that has the potential to mess with you. And I have not worked at Chatham enough to know exactly where the sun is at points of the day, but 5:30 p.m. is not a normal face-off time. So both goalies are going to be dealing with a potentially odd sun angle. And we'll see how that plays out, whether the coin toss plays into anything there. If we're really, taking a deep dive on this, what is that going to be like? That it's not the sexiest analysis of this, but it's something that's a reality that they're going to deal with there because of that face-off time. So interesting, and I do think that there is extra juice in that game because they haven't played yet. So, anytime that you get something that's a little bit unique, I think that is a little bit more appeal. The two other games to me that are interesting, first is Manasquan Ocean City. That to me is going to be another one of those blue collar shore games that, you have a little bit, not northern shore for Manasquan, but they are more north shore than Ocean City for sure. And Ocean City, kind of building that legacy, down there of, hey, we're really, really good at lacrosse. And we're so good that Manasquan, even though you've been to a state championship game a whole bunch of times, you got to come play us this year. So I think that's just going to be a really fun game to watch. And I think whoever comes out and wins the ground ball battle there, that could determine who wins that game. And the other one, in the same way that we said earlier in the year, Tharp, that you alluded to, Seton Hall, Del Barton, oh, there's not a lot of juice for this and that. Morristown, Shawnee, I'm sorry. Shawnee is the favorite in the game. We all know that. The same way that Del Barton was the favorite over Seton Hall the first time they played, and Seton Hall beat Del Barton. Morristown, Shawnee rivalry game, anything can happen. I'm sorry. I just would love I would say the first 8 minutes of that game are probably going to be played where it looks like everybody's got a rocket shoved up their rear end. And that one's going to be a little bit fun to watch, I think.
Glock, can we shit on the NJSIAA for a second?
I really was trying to keep this to be a positive podcast, but if you must, I will say I know where you're going, and I would say in this particular instance, I will allow it.
So obviously, we all have connections at all these schools, and yesterday I got word of the uniforms for the non-public finals. So obviously in the bracket, Seton Hall is the 1, Del Barton's the 2, but an email gets sent to the schools that for the uniform color for the state championship, they're going by PowerPoints, which means that Del Barton is technically the home team and Seton Hall Prep is technically the away team. I think this is the dumbest thing in the world. And even the coach who shared it was like, we don't care. Like, this is not like a thing, but I'm super curious at your guys' thoughts, because it's like, in a way, it feels like an attempt to legitimize the PowerPoints, but at the same token, you're delegitimizing your playoff bracket. And again, we're talking about the color of a uniform, but I'm just curious at your guys' thoughts, because I think this is so stupid. I don't know why this even this feels like why even stick your nose in this NJSIAA?
I'm gonna just completely ignore your question, and that is not the thing that I thought you were gonna say. Can we criticize something that matters to a lot more people than the uniform color, if that's all right?
I think people want. I think
yeah, no. Let's finish this thought. Let's finish this thought
all right,
train.
Go. You got 20 seconds.
No, I'm curious too. What's the where did this stem from?
When you have neutral site games.
All right, here's my guess. My guess is that they copy and pasted all the emails that they sent to all the other schools that actually use PowerPoints as their number one system, and just forwarded that out as, hey, just a reminder, this is what we've been sending out all year. And they forgot that what PowerPoint's lax numbers are for lacrosse is not the same. And that's where I'm going with that, is just a little oversight on what they sent out with a little typo.
Bingo.
Such a corporate stooge, Nova. You've changed, man.
God forbid we throw common sense into this.
But if it's not an oversight, then it's the stupidest thing I've ever, and I fully agree with it.
Why was it just not public though?
Because
it's everybody. I think it's just what they generally send out to every sport. Like, hey, just a reminder, congrats on getting it this far. Like, remember the PowerPoints team with the most points, because every other sport uses PowerPoints. So I just think they just.
No, but that's not you would go by the bracket. The bracket would be the PowerPoint. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but every school, every other sport uses the PowerPoints as their bracket. Lacrosse uses lax numbers. No other sport does that.
Right, but to Bill's point, wouldn't it just be the higher seeds, the home team?
Really, why would you even use the word PowerPoints?
Right, those other sports use PowerPoints to form their bracket, and the higher seed would be the home team. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't have to reapply PowerPoints.
True, you don't have to.
After the bracket,
I see your perspective there. You didn't have to use that word.
I do think something also like this happened with the hockey playoffs, because I remember that because I guess in hockey, and I don't know hockey as well as some of you guys might, but I guess in hockey the home team gets like the second line change or something, yes. And I think something like this happened in hockey as well. And Nova, now that you're saying that, I wonder if you might be onto something, because I think that something like this happened. I think hockey's in a similar boat to lacrosse with their state playoffs. So Nova, you might be onto something. I still think you're a corporate stooge, but you might be onto something.
We'll dig into
Now
it.
we spent enough time, Keith. Move on.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's also
Wait,
that.
what did you now? I'm curious what Glock thought I was gonna.
All right, I'll get to that in a second. This is also the only neutral site game of the day because they're in the championship game. So that same email is gonna get sent out to everybody else come Friday, Saturday when they win this round because everything else is gonna be neutral site. So that's why that got sent out. Now the wording of PowerPoints versus whatever, like I understand your point, but who cares? It's not gonna be 107 degrees, so the team wearing dark jerseys, whatever. What I was going to say
I do think there is something. The last thing, and then I swear to God, this is going to take like I do in this game especially. Just hear me out. We started this with like championships and championship week. I do think there's something to be said of like the blue of Seton Hall versus the green of like I think there's something there. Like I do think like the as weird as this sounds, like hear me out. I do think it means something a little more in this game. Like I don't know why I feel that way. I've never played in the game. I've never coached in the game. I just think it means a little more this game and like as stupid as the stuff is on Instagram, like the waves are blue or the waves are green. I think that means a like it means 1%. So I think this might shove a rocket unintentionally up the ass of Seton Hall Prep, maybe gives them a little bulletin board material. I don't know. Just saying.
To me, it means the team wearing the darker jersey is going to be a little hotter. And so the home team actually would have a disadvantage. So
all these jerseys are mesh hole anyway. They don't even.
Dark colors get hotter than light colors. That's all I know. And this is really.
And it's at 6:30. There's no
more you know.
Keep it rolling.
No crap, because who cares? What we do care about is that we have a whole group of games being played in the sectional championship. There is a whole other round, the group championships, that is also sponsored by the NJSIAA. The group championship stage is where non-public is right now. Why in the world would we play the non-public final on the same day as the sectional championships? Hey, we have the most anticipated potentially game of the season in Summit Chatham. Let's play it 1 hour prior to a game that is probably going to have 20 Division I kids starting in it in the sectional championship for non-public. To play them both on the same day is wild. And for everybody that can't get to both places, and obviously you can't be in both places for the duration of both games unless you are one of the people who lives under the ocean and has those crafts that defy all the logic that we understand about space and time, you can't see the whole thing. So that is where I was going with this. If there's a criticism that should be lobbed at the schedule makers, that's the one. Forget about the jersey colors. Talk about our ability to see in person great lacrosse, and it's hampered a little bit by the schedule. And there's no actual rational reason other than, well, we booked Kane for this day, so here we are.
I'm proud of you, Keith. I'm proud of you, man.
It's crazy how much of a leg up the non-public school is going to get for the Curse Cup.
Yeah, but the NJSA isn't thinking about that, so it means
they don't care. So.
True, they don't care about the non-publics or non-publics.
No, it's not that they don't care about the non-publics; they just don't care about the Curse Cup. So
they don't care about the non-publics. Keith, don't get me started.
Anyway, William,
they don't care about the smaller non-publics.
So that
also care about the charters.
I'm going to tease this because I don't want to talk about it today. We can talk about it once the season's over because we have a lot of time for it, and we probably have a couple of podcasts that we need to talk about some things between the end of the season and then the end of the end of season meeting at NJSIAA. Is that what I realized is that I am actually on Team Tharp about non-public B. Just not in the same way, the actual format of what Tharp wants. But I am I realized I'm a non-public B guy. And
wow.
I'll get into it. I promise I'll get into it, but just not right now. That's all.
That's like the ultimate tease.
right?
It's like you showing up at my house in some lingerie, Keith.
Listen, I can't get you too excited. Can't get you too excited. All right, so that kind of gets us through where we want to be. Just to give everybody a heads up on what comes after this, because unless you guys have plans for us to drop another pod, which we certainly can do, we have the group championships, which will be played on Friday and Saturday at the College of New Jersey. And you have games on Friday being played at 4 and 6:30. And then you have games Saturday 11 and 1:30. And making this happen at TCNJ is such a long time coming. I'm for as much as we just lobbed some criticisms at the NJSIAA, great work on this and making this in the literal most central location in the state to make it the fairest possible for teams coming from the south and the north, and a great venue and location for this. It has nothing to do with the fact that it's 4 minutes from my home. It's all fantastic. Actually, all those things can be true at the same time, by the way.
Hey,
So
I don't mean to derail, but this is kind of on topic. Do you guys think that this sectional finals should also be neutral site, not just the state finals?
no,
I have to
No.
agree.
Okay. I was
No.
Just like I also agree that you shouldn't be getting a ring if you win your sectional finals. You got to win the whole group.
Facts.
What about, can you cut the net? Can you cut the net?
No.
Absolutely not. You got to win the
I mean, it's
whole
your net. You can
group.
cut it whenever you want, I guess.
Nova wants championships. So does Gil. That's it. Chances Tharp wins the sectional title and cuts the nets down.
I have a stage here. My ring's right here, baby.
Did you cut the nets down in the sectional?
I kiss this thing goodnight every night. My kids aren't allowed to touch it. It's elevated. It's a spot where they can't touch it.
Did you cut the nets down in the sectional?
No. Well, there's no sectional. We went over this.
I can't remember when the sectional started. Relative
Well,
to your
non-public's
championship.
never had a sectional championship.
It was a finger.
Oh, that's right. That's right. My bad. Anywho, all right. So we are through everything lacrosse related, and just so we can keep ourselves on task, which is to say off task, I have a dumb stall warning question for you, and it was motivated by my dinner this evening, and it is your absolute, and I'm going to say Costco because I feel like Costco is the king of these stores at this point, with all apologies to BJ's and whatever now.
BJ's fan.
That's fantastic. What is your absolute go-to, if we don't have this, I'm going to Instacart it, repeat Costco purchase?
Right now, diapers.
Good one. Good one.
All right. If you didn't have a child that was going to poop all over you outside of that, what would you say?
Oh, that's a great question. Great question.
I have to say, I don't know if it fits the category, but Costco has some delicious prepared meals.
No doubt.
Taco platter, chicken taco platter.
Chicken taco is very good. Not where I would have went first, but okay.
Trying to think what else.
For the double chocolate chip boom cookie, whatever that guy was.
That was a
you can't
fantastic
go wrong
impression.
with their $1.50 pizza and their 59-cent drinks. It's pretty unbeatable there for sure.
I personally have a BJ's membership, so I don't even shop at Costco.
Nice.
Unlikely, but okay. Nothing. So what stands out at that particular box chain?
They're 40 pack of water for $3. That's clutch.
Hydration is key.
I don't know, Glock. This is one of your dumber ones.
Yeah, this is again.
Better
It's
than
so
the
stupid,
cocaine
but I
animals
had
that we had to nix.
I had two very delicious French bread pizzas for dinner tonight, and I realized that I just 7 minutes in the air fryer, and it's like a slice of my childhood.
chicken nuggets for sure. Rotisserie, the rotisserie chickens they always have
Nova Gourmet.
popping out left and right. Yeah, you know how I do it here. We always get drinks, whether it's like a Snapple or Kirkland brand sports drink, something like that. We always loading up
Oh,
some
they have Kirkland brand. Is it kettle cooked? Like sea salt chips.
chips.
Delicious.
Yep.
Delicious.
My only gripe is the Costco in Lawrenceville does not sell booze. And you got to go like all the way to Edison.
My Costco doesn't sell booze either.
Costco Edison. Shout out to the cases of Prosecco.
Mount Laurel area.
Work on it, Mercer County Costco. All right, that's all we got. And I am also a big fan of the stuffed peppers, the pre-prepared stuffed peppers. Fantastic. And that's gonna do it. I'm gonna put a cap on it. I'm gonna go down and eat some Costco value pack Yasso bars, cookies and cream for dessert maybe. Fantastic, guys.
I look forward to the live updates tomorrow, Gil.
2 p.m. Get ready.
Glock, I look forward
shot.
to watching at least the second half of your electric game, and best of luck, good sir. And Tharp, I'm sure I will talk to you 800 times between now and then.
Gil, you should go Facebook Live. You should go Instagram Live from West Morris.
Yeah, let me
prove
go
that you're
Facebook
there.
Live. Like 2006.
Facebook Live, yeah.
I said Instagram Live.
Go MySpace Live and invite all your top 8 friends.
Yeah, all my updates will be on MySpace.
Wait, before we leave, Gil, how was tryouts tonight?
They're good.
Tryouts for what? Tryouts for what?
The Garden State Cup.
Continue.
It was great. Sorry, I'm trying to get out, but no, Garden State Cup North tryouts were good. Good talent at the 5th, 6th, and 7th, 8th grade levels, and sounds like everything else went well in the East and the South and the Central. So excited to see how it all shakes out.
Central Region Upper Class, June 22nd at Hillsborough, at Iron Peak. Need you there. We had a heartbreaking loss in the finals last year. We need you there. Central Region Upper Class, 28s and 27s. We need you there. I need redemption.
Purely a function of
Shove
bad
the Glock's
officiating.
face.
Purely a function of bad officiating last year. That's all. Right, Nova?
I'll pull up the clips.
You don't want to embarrass yourself like that. Please don't. That's going to do it.
I'll see you guys.
Gil, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. And with that,
see you next year.
This has been episode 16, a championship week episode of the New Jersey Lacrosse Podcast. Get out and watch lacrosse this week, whether it's the sectional championships on Tuesday or the group championships on Friday and Saturday. Nova, great luck in your game tomorrow, buddy. I'm sure we'll bring all the blow-by-blow to everybody after this. Have fun at BJ's, and we'll see you guys later.
Later.